Good morning, everyone.
Hello, people.
And welcome to Portugal. We made it.
Tell?
Let's rewind a little bit let's talk about Portugal for a second, because
Let's rewind to step number one.
Step one, we decided to change the name of our boat when we got it.
Well, we were giving her a new life, so she deserved a new name. She
Yes.
was reborn, if you will.
We decided that Uma was going to be her name, and she was originally inspired by the Portuguese number and a word that says one. Like the feminine one is Uma.
Yeah, because our goal with this boat was always to get across the Atlantic and go sail into the Med, because ever since we met, the culture, the architecture, the sailing, the beautiful, like, there's climbing along the water and there's the Alps, like, everything about the Med called to us. And so the goal with this boat has always been to, like, get across the Atlantic and go spend some time in the Med. And Portugal was going to be our first port of call, either the Azores or Portugal. And so that's why we chose Portuguese.
Yes, and so today is a particularly special event for Uma. 8 years later.
Took a couple of detours along the way. Well, the last few times that we've needed to roll up our head sail, it's gotten caught and it wouldn't let us roll it up. We thought it might be the furling line because there was a loop in it that may have been getting caught on something, but that doesn't seem to be the problem. I think it might be the swivel, because the last time it did that, we just loosened the halyard a little bit to take some tension off of the luff, and that seemed to help, which means if it's something wrong with the swivel, that means it's at the top of the sail, which means this morning we need to drop the sail and take a look at it and see if there's anything noticeably wrong. Hopefully it's just dirty or something and the bearings are getting bound up. But right now the conditions are perfect. The bow is facing into the very light wind, so it shouldn't be too hard to open up the sail and bring it down on deck. So that's what we're gonna do this morning. The good news is that it looks just fine. The bad news is that means we don't really know why it was jamming still. It may have just been the jib tension might be a little bit. I mean, like, it's possible that because we're now in a warmer place, our boat's expanded a little bit and it put more tension on the jib halyard, because I know that this swivel doesn't work if we over tension our jib halyard. Like if we really grind down on it, it doesn't work, which makes sense because it's pulling it open. But the barbecue paint we used to paint this 7 years ago has held up really well. Yeah, it looks totally fine. I'll probably spray it out with some water just to make sure, but it looks fine. It's good that we don't have to fix anything right now, but sometimes it's better to need to fix something, because then you know it's fixed, than it is to just kind of wait for it to fail again. Our roller furler is 40 years old, I think, so at some point we're probably going to need to replace it. But for now, we just have a little bit less tension on the jib halyard, and hopefully that'll solve it. Yeah, that was an easy project. I like projects I don't have to fix anything. We reached out to a guy called yachflags.com, and he makes really high quality flags. This is kind of two-part. One, he makes really high quality flags out of like mesh, courtesy flags for all of the countries we've been to, almost all the countries we've been to, plus all the countries we're going to be going to this next year or two in the Med, which we need like 20 flags for. So we figured we'd just get them now rather than in each individual country. But also Canadian flags. As you guys know, ours get beat up hard because every time it starts blowing 30 or 40 knots and they just start going, and the little thin nylon ones just get shredded. So he makes really nice mesh ones. But we reached out to him and he sent us like
the whole world worth of flags.
All the flags.
So yeah,
including a couple of like really good.
So Canadian you can actually flags. See. I don't know if you can see, but it is
It's like a mesh. It's like a mesh material, and they're like handmade in Sweden, I think. But we've got probably close to 60 or 70 flags here, and we've gone to half of them already. So, and the other half is basically the Med.
So
and then
these are the flags.
A third is where we've been, a third is the Med, and a third is the South Pacific, basically. But yeah, each one is like a pack. Like this is the Med, and like this one's the South Pacific, and this one's, you know, the Eastern Caribbean or whatever. So it's pretty cool. There's a couple that are still missing. Some of the off the beaten track ones, like Haiti, Iceland. There's a couple of countries in the Med that aren't quite covered that we might end up going to, but the main ones are all in here, and he sells them on his website. And yeah, so we have like a whole box of courtesy flags that we're gonna have to figure out what to do with. We have been anchored here in Porto for a couple of days now because the wind is blowing out of the south pretty strong, which means the bar to come through the breakwater is still closed because it's got like big breaking waves in it. So we can't actually leave even if we wanted to, but because the wind's out of the south, we can't sail south anyway, and we are going to go explore Porto today because it's going to be a little bit less rainy than it has been all week. But instead of taking the train or the tram or bus or an Uber or walking, we're taking Coco because Porto's on a river.
There are so many like cruise the river tours around here, and it's kind of funny because we basically have our own little private mini tour on our dinghy. It's really cool because they're using these traditional style boats to give the tours, so you feel like you're in part of Portugal's history. It's really nice. But yeah, I like the fact that we can go downtown with our dinghy.
So I'm not a history expert, but it looks like these barges are what they used to bring the port down the river in, the big barrels. And they have these big sculling oars off the back to move it. And now they've converted all the tour boats look like these barges, even though they've got big diesel engines. Because the Douro River is actually navigable for about 130-ish nautical miles up. You have to go through 5 really, really big locks now that these big tour boats go through. We thought about figuring out a way to go up it, not necessarily on a tour boat, but we can't take Coco and we can't get underneath this bridge with Uma, so we'll probably pass for now. But if we can take one of those, that'd be an adventure.
We just tied up Coco down on the dock of a river cruise boat. They are kind enough to let us tie up here. So we're going to walk around for a few hours and explore this beautiful city. So apparently, we can climb all the way up this tower. So we're gonna see if we can get a tour.
Thank you.
240 steps all the way up. I don't know if these count, but should we count and see how many? think we're at the top. Look at this.
Nope. There's more.
Wait, there's more? Oh, there is more. Oh, there's more. I go first. Thank you. Yeah, I think we made it to the top. I'd say it's safe to say we can't really go any further up. The rest of this is are the bells, and it's locked.
That was a trip up.
So, but this is pretty. You can see so much. This park is not a thing.
How's the view from up here? Was it worth all the steps?
It's beautiful. It's really nice. I didn't count the steps, but on the way down we might count to see how many steps the tower really has.
I got distracted.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic coming up and down. But what's cool about Porto is that it is the second largest city in Portugal, but all the historic centers are congested in like a one-day walking distance. So yeah, you can basically see everything that you want to see in one day or two, which is really cool. You can see everything.
Up one tower. You just go up one tower.
Just go up one tower, you can see everything. You don't need to go check anything else out. No, I'm kidding. No.
Ready to head back down?
Yes, let's head back down. Let's work out some, stretch a little bit. And then it's a long way down, so.
Pede pouco mais de alma. A vida não para. Enquanto o tempo acelera e pede pressa, eu me recuso, faço hora e eu vou na valsa. A vida é tão rara. Enquanto todo mundo espera.
So a lot of buildings here in Porto are covered with these like white and blue tiles, and they're handmade tiles, and they're very traditional here in Portugal. It's very interesting because they basically hand paint each little piece like a puzzle and then put it together on a lot of the buildings here. And inside of the main train station, like the entire place is covered in those tiles. I think I read somewhere that there's 20,000 tiles laid in here, which is mind-blowing. And that's just one of the buildings.
Enquanto todo mundo espera a cura do mal e a loucura finge que isto tudo é normal. Finjo ter paciência. O mundo vai girando cada vez mais veloz. A gente espera do mundo, o mundo espera de nós um pouco mais de paciência.
So, considering that Porto is the epicenter of Portugal's port wine trade, it would be kind of unforgivable if we left here without at least tasting some of the world's finest wine. The problem is, we're a little bit late and every single wine cellar are actually closing right now, so we're trying to find one that's open. And I think there's a museum that still opens until 8 and it's almost 7, so let's see if I really wanted to go to Taylor's, but they just closed. So yeah, let's see if we can find some place we can check out some port cellars and taste some wine.
Yeah, it would definitely be a missed opportunity if we didn't try to sample some port while in Porto, Portugal. That even makes sense. Get out of the way of the car. This road is very small.
Are so tiny. We almost thought that we were going the wrong way because the road is literally one car width and you have to squeeze yourself against the wall to let the cars go through, and they go through fast, but there are people coming back and forth, so we must be in the right road.
Back then was the wine cellars that we have the wine aging. So then we rehabilitate the place, and is a cultural district right now. And I will give you the receipt.
Oh, it's like back outside.
Okay.
Across the main square, and then to the right.
So we're a little bit too late to go see an actual wine cellar, but WOW is World of Wine is a museum, and we're gonna go see the wine experience. Basically, we're going to learn how wine was made.
Maybe it's not it.
I don't think that's it.
About to find out.
Oh, I think that is it. Yeah, I think we're in the right place.
The museum closes in an hour, and it takes 2 hours to go through, so we're gonna do our best.
She was like, it closes in an hour and you need to be at the last room in 30 minutes. I was like, we'll make it happen.
Make it happen.
All right, use your ticket right there.
RFID. I didn't have any problem with it.
No idea what happened.
All right, let's have a wine experience. Let's peek at style.
I mean, I know we're cruising through this, but we should probably take some notes if ever we're going to open a vineyard one day. We can't learn that fast.
You just want a vineyard.
You just want a vineyard. Pruning takes place in the coolest month in the winter when the wine is dormant. This is how the grapes are grown. September is when you start snipping the harvest. You snip all the things. And in October is fall, obviously. So this is a summary wheel of winemaking. So all I really have to do is take a picture of this.
It's easy. I don't see what the big problem is.
And then I got my vineyard.
Done.
2 minutes, sorry.
Well,
I'm a Grenache. Grenache or Ganarcha is one of the most traveled red wine grape varieties in the world. Here portrayed as a Romani gypsy dancer. It's a classic grape from the warm south.
They got it and they nailed you.
I am Grenache. Dennis taking the test.
This is mine. I'm a man. I actually prefer white. I don't know what to choose. And Cruzado is a distinguished white grape variety that produces world-class, well-structured wines as it grows almost exclusively in the cool climate region. So I'm a shepherd that sometimes goes to war from the distinguished colder climates.
So Canada.
So Canada.
You don't think so? Ooh, time lapse.
That gives a whole new meaning to having one barrel of wine. We were expecting like the normal 200 liter, like the size of the whiskey barrels, but these are, what do you say, 2,000 liters? Mm-hmm. 20,000 liters? Some of the bigger ones? Did not expect them to be that big. That's intense. That's a lot of wine. And then we're getting into the bottle. We're now going into the bottle section. Bottles of going through history. Bottles I think are made from melted sand. And now they're getting into newer bottles. Now we're getting into bigger bottles.
This one's called a Magnum.
I think I just want one bottle of wine for dinner. It's only 18 liters, so should be enough for just me. Everywhere. I think we made it to the best part, which is the tasting experience. How to taste wine, which is what we came for. What is your wine style? Was the quiz we just took.
I'm a champagne and sparkling.
I'm a champagne and sparkling.
Dan's a champagne and sparkling.
And we both are champagne sparkling, apparently. Even though our answers were actually slightly different.
High five.
Let's go drink some champagne sparkling wine. We're gonna learn how to taste wine like professionals.
So what would we do to release the other aromas is to swirl our wine. So I will advise you to pick your glass like that, 2 fingers on the bottom, 3 on the top, and then gently you swirl out your wine, okay? And you will feel a huge difference.
Todo mundo espera a cura do mal. E a loucura finge que isto tudo é normal. Finjo ter paciência.
You know what this is? This is very, very cool.